All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What is up, everybody? We're back talking some hoops on the Mayo Media Network. Appreciate everybody out there hanging out. As always, like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. I'm joined by my man, Hebrewcheetah, also known as Rio. Big boy slate, Rio. 13 games. Tuesday, yesterday, 3 games. Now we get 13. A lot of injury news we're still waiting on. That's a story of the NBA as always. So we'll talk injuries. We'll go if-then scenario, stuff like that. All of our content, though, will be live, will be updated throughout the night, as always, at SHIPITNation.com. Before I even throw it to Rio and show off some of our projections, some of our tools, if you do want to join us at SHIPITNation.com, make sure you use that promo code MAYO. It'll get you 10% off your membership, whether you want to do monthly, the 6-month, or annual. Monthly, $69 a month. 6 months comes out to $59 a month, and then annual comes out to $49 a month, and that is before you use that code MAYO. So if you use that, comes out to like $62.50 a month right there. We have MMA this week. NFL still going on. MLB World Series, so that's not really until next year. NBA, of course, full force. NHL, Nades heads that up. I see him in chat. Has been on fire as well. PGA will be back a couple weeks, I believe. Maybe right even this week. I know there's smaller events, but so many sports going on. Very low price. Can't beat the price in the industry. Use Mayo as the promo code. Rio, what's going on, man? You've been absolutely dialed in. A lot of members. It's been great so far this NBA season. A lot of words, good words from members about your content, the slate plan in the Discord, helping people out. Yesterday, you were very close to a big day yourself too, but how's the NBA season been treating you? What's going on this Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, NBA's been good. First week was really successful, I think, for a lot of our members. Been having a lot of fun doing my nightly write-ups. Always, one thing we pride ourselves on over here is making sure that we get all of our content up really early. And, I always get my slate plan up early, or I guess late in the night, depending on what coast you're on. But yeah, anytime that you wake up, I'll have some write-ups done. But I've been having a lot of fun doing these write-ups, feeling really dialed in right now for NBA. And yeah, really, really close night for me last night. It was just a 1v1 away. Had a Cole Anthony late night hammer that didn't really work out that well, but all in all, it was a pretty successful night for me. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about this 13 gamer. Had a lot of fun writing it up last night, so I'm really looking forward to breaking this one down.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is a good one too. Prize pool's massive as always. Before we go game by game, a lot to talk about today. Got to say hi to people as always. Go Collect, Sean Sullivan, our man Jordan, Nade's in here, YouTube user, Go Collect, Zim, Ryan Shepard, Eric Garcia, Tanner, our man Marley. He's going to be playing some NBA today. Love to see that. Zim in here, like I mentioned as well. If you aren't a member, just want to briefly show off what you do get, some things you get at SHIPIT Nation for our NBA product. So let me go here. Perfect. Right here, you see NBA. So we have NFL, we have shows, projections, all of our show schedule right here, projections for all the sports, NFL, NBA, etc. Talking NBA, though, projections right here, updated constantly throughout the night. DraftKings, FanDuel, can sort it by salary, can sort it by ownership, can sort it by position, whatever you need. If you just want to click a couple teams, you can also do that as well. So projections for everybody, FanDuel, DraftKings, coming down, GPP Core Report, Hebrew, Rio, Nadesify, Hamwich on FanDuel. You get that every single day. Cash report from myself, 4 core plays on both sites. Slate plan, this is what Rio was talking about up the night before, updated throughout. Top tier, mid-tier, lower tier. Great breakdown, very in-depth as always from him. Ceiling rankings correlation sheet will be up when we have more data. End of November for ceiling rankings, early December for correlation sheets. Slate info, just broad Vegas lines, and then showdown. Not many cover showdown. We do Monday through Friday. Prize pool is pretty good. We have projections right there. And then also Hebrew, our man Rio. I'm going to call you Rio. That's what I call you in real life. I'm calling you Rio here. It's easier. But also does main core, couple cores, his favorite captains, top 5, the exposure he'll be playing it at, some notes, and then in the flex as well, ranked by exposure. So You need projections. We got them. We have ownership. We have showdown content, cash report, GPP report. And if you do join, make sure to get in the Discord as well. Huge piece of our content over here. All right, Rio, let's go game by game. 13 to talk about. Like I said, a lot of questionable tags, a lot of injury news. People that aren't even on the injury report will pop up and be listed out as well, as we've seen to start the year. So let's start first game of the night. Portland Trailblazers, Detroit Pistons, 216.5 total. Detroit is favored by 3.5. Going to the injury report on the Portland side, Anthony Simons will be out for about 6 weeks. Shaedon Sharpe's going to continue to start. Scoot Henderson, we'll talk on that side, but no questionable tags on Portland. As far as the Detroit side, Jalen Duren is questionable, which is big news on this slate. If he's out, I assume Bagley probably get the start, and we saw that multiple times last year as well. Solid price on him. Initial thoughts, first game of the night. What does Duren news do for you? And then talk about the Brogdons, the Sharps, the Scoot Hendersons of the world. The guards get the biggest bump, in my opinion, on DK, or on both sites, but with Simons out. How do you see this one going down?
Yeah, the Duren news is really big. He's been really, really good to start the year, as all of the Pistons, the team as a whole has been really solid on both ends of the court to start the year. Really fun young team to watch. I really have enjoyed watching their games on a nightly basis. But yeah, Duren, if he's out, it's going to be Bagley starting most likely. We did get some news earlier in the day that Duren did miss shoot around and Bagley was in a starter jersey, so it's looking likely that Bagley's going to be the starter tonight. We'll get that news early because it's one of the first games on the slate, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, Bagley starts. He's only 4K, really good price tag for him, and I think he's going to be a pretty popular but a pretty strong value. Portland's been pretty bad at guarding centers this year. DeAndre Ayton is just not a very good defender, so I think that it's probably pretty good chalk if he does start. But yeah, we'll get that news as the day goes on a little bit. But yeah, on the Portland side, Shaedon Sharpe minutes have been really good this year. I think he's averaging like 37, 38 minutes. If the games are close, he's gotten up to 40 minutes. So the upside is pretty strong for him. And then, Brogdon, he's been one of the more solid options for the Blazers this year. Scoot's really struggled to start his young career, and I don't know if I see it really getting better right now. Just he's got a lot of work to do. So Brogdon seems pretty safe. But, yeah, I won't be able to get to, like, the Aytons, Jeremy Grants, because the Detroit's been pretty good defensively this year. So I would just want to choose the guys that have a higher floor, higher minutes. And, yeah, pretty much everyone for the Pistons is in play. Actually, I like the price on Cade Cunningham. I think he has a lot of upside there. He's been really good to start the year. Asar Thompson, the rookie, we've been hammering him every single slate pretty much. He finally got there for us last game, put up 40 DraftKings points. Been saying every time I write him up that he's been super close to breaking the slate. Just need to get a couple more points to get that double-double bonus, and he finally did, and he put up 40 DraftKings points. And I think a sneaky boost for him if Duren missed, because he's been getting double-digit rebounds pretty much every game. I think that rebound rate could boost a little bit if Duren is out, so I like him a lot. So that's basically it for me in this game. I think you're on mute.
Rookie. I said I like the Thompson shout. He gets a bump, and I think Isaiah Stewart too. Someone else mentioned him. I think he also would get a boost. 5.4K. You do get power forward and center eligibility. Played 30 minutes every single game so far. You think his rebounding rate goes up without Duren, assuming he does miss. If Duren's in, I don't know, 7K. The price is definitely up there, but he's been so good this year. He'll be low owned. Any thoughts if he is in? Obviously, we're not playing Bagley at 4K. I wouldn't really like Stewart. I wouldn't really like any Pistons as much. I think Duren would be my favorite at 7K. Stewart, I still think's in play. They play double big. Stewart plays the 4. Duren plays the 5. So it'd really just be the front court if he's in. Would you have any interest in Duren at 7K if he plays?
Price is a little bit too hefty for him. I really like him as a player. I think he's super good, but 7K is a little bit tough to pay when I usually am kind of looking more so to pay down at center a little bit. But yeah, he's going to be super low owned. I would expect low single digits. So, and this is a matchup he could definitely exploit. So yeah, he's a good play, but Asar Thompson would be probably my only play if Duren is in.
I like it, yeah. And so Portland side, much better. The Brogdon Sharps will get ownership without Simons, still affordable price. Guard forward eligibility for Sharp is nice as well. I will say the only difference I think I have a little more interest in Jeremy Grant at 6.2K, 30 or 25% plus usage rate in 2 of the 4 games. The other one 22, 23. He's chucking. He plays big minutes, 35 plus most games. So it's never really a fun click, but 35 minutes, 25% usage rate around there. No Simons. He gets a boost. I'm good with him as well. And I think this game, outside of Sharp and Brogdon, I think this game is pretty low owned. Obviously, if Durant's out, Bagley at 4K gets a bump as well. Power forward, center eligible. But I don't think really anyone on Portland outside of Sharp, Brogdon get too much ownership. And I think Grant's pretty interesting there. Just power forward eligibility hurts a little bit, but power forward, not that strong of a position. That's the first game of the night. Monitor Duran news. That is definitely important on the Detroit side. B. Stewart, Bagley get a bump, and I do like the Azir Thompson. Small forward, power forward. His rebounding rate will go up as well. Let's move it on to the next game. Milwaukee Bucks, Toronto Raptors. The game that hardly has no injury news, actually. Milwaukee is favored by 5, 224 total. Again, like I said, we're not waiting on any injury news on both sides of this one. So 2 healthy teams. Usually 2 healthy teams on a 13-game slate with a lot of injury news means not much interest for me. As far as like Giannis at 11K and stuff, I don't know. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. I think it's more of a balance build people go than stars and scrubs, at least as of now. More injury news hits. That could definitely change. But we need to cross off some games on 13-game slates. This is one I'm good completely Xing. If you want to talk about a Giannis or a Scotty Barnes, Dennis Schroeder, I think it's fine if you want off any of them, but everyone seems appropriately priced for me, which is not the case for all these games. So kind of a pass. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much a pass for me. The only 2 people I would keep in my pool in this game is Giannis and Scotty Barnes. Giannis, you're just getting a pretty big price decrease from the Jokic and the Luka range. And he's got similar upside. It's just both these teams are playing super slow in pace, and I just don't really want to attack this game that much.
I like it. You and I are lockstep there. Again, 13 games to talk about. We'll be going game by game, talking in depth. If we don't like a game like that one, we will say pass. But everyone out there, we appreciate hanging out. Hope everybody, good start to the week, having a good Wednesday. And as always, we appreciate the like button, subscribe button as well. Helps out us, helps out Mayo Media Network. If you're at the Mayo Media Network and you haven't been to SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel, also check that out. We'll be doing NBA shows Wednesday and Friday at 3:30 Eastern on this channel. Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays on the SHIPIT Nation channel at 4 Eastern. So hit both subscribe buttons. We appreciate that a ton. Notifies you every time we go live. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Those 2 are at 7 Eastern. This one, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. New Orleans Pelicans, OKC Thunder, 227.5 total. OKC is favored by 3.5. No injury news on the OKC side that we're waiting on. Nothing important there. Not the same on the Pelican side, though. Brandon Ingram is questionable. Obviously, very big news. Hopefully, we get it before lock, 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after this game does start. If he's out, we saw Jordan Hawkins just start for him last game. Pretty solid game there. I'll throw it right to you. If Ingram's out, you're going to be loading up on some of these Pelicans. If he's in, is it a stay away? Break down this one.
Yeah, if Ingram's out, the only person I would really have interest in is Hawkins if he's starting again. I just think that pretty much everybody on the Pelicans is priced pretty appropriately in terms of their upside, and I just don't really want to attack OKC. They're pretty sound defensive team right now. So I don't love this game really. It should be competitive, should be a good real life game. I think it's a national televised game too, which would be fun to watch, but yeah, I don't have a ton of interest here. I mean, Zion is only 8,800 right now, but looks like he's kind of limited to start the season. Hasn't seen more than 32 minutes. Doesn't only put up 35 DraftKings points as his highest output this year. So I don't love him, but the matchup is a little bit better for him. And then on the OKC side, it's just going to be Shai Gilgeous for me. He's had some pretty good games against Herb Jones in his career. I don't think he's scored less than 30 points in a game for him, but more so just a contrarian pay up option at 10-4.
Yeah, the Zion price tag's better on FanDuel. He fit the scoring better over there, 7.8K. So I think if Ingram's out, he was very highly on last time Ingram was out. I think that probably it'd be a great play at 7-8, and I do prefer that price tag on FanDuel, especially where we have to play 2 power forwards. Hawkins at 3.8K, if he grabs a start again, there's so many questionable tags. So like if a lot of these guys are ruled out, there might be better value than Hawkins. But if a lot of these Q tags are in and Ingram's out, I think Hawkins at 3.8, assuming he does get the start again, is fine as well. So it's like, I think CJ is a really good play if Brandon Ingram's out. 7.2K is way too cheap. I think even if Ingram's in, this game really would just be one-offs for tournaments. I still am good with CJ's price tag, though. Outside of him, probably no one else on the Pelicans side. Again, that is assuming Ingram plays. You mentioned SGA on OKC side, which I like, but any Giddey or Jalen Williams, I don't want to play multiple, I don't think. At least if I'm only playing a couple lineups, there's other games I like much more. But any thoughts on Giddey or Jalen Williams? They are cheaper, obviously, than SGA. Or is it really just SGA or bust?
No, it's just SGA for me. I think there's some better players with similar price tags in different games. So I don't really – this is not a game I want to load up on.
I like it. So talked about 4 games so far. 2 of them more of a fade. The other 2 a little bit of interest. We'll move on to the next game. Do have some injury news in this one. Washington Wizards, Atlanta Hawks. Big total, 238.5. Atlanta is favored by 8.5. Going to the injury report on the Washington side, Daniel Gafford is questionable. And then as far as the other side in Atlanta, Trae Young is questionable as well. So big news on both sides. Starting center for Gafford. Trae Young, obviously, huge news. If Trae's out, DeJounte Murray, he always is the one people go to. He'll be very, very chalky, 7.3K. Pretty tough to ignore, especially in cash games, tournaments. You can always avoid some chalk. I'll ask you, good or bad chalk if he's out. Jalen Johnson's another one, 5.4K. Now that he's starting, he's always been a hooper. He's not shy at all, can fill it up in multiple areas. I like that price tag. Gets a bump without Trae as well. Talk about the centers stuff, too, for Capella and Okongwu. 5'7" Capella, 3'9" Okongwu. Split the 48 minutes at center. But I definitely don't want to play 2 of them, but both or in the same lineup, that is. But I think both their prices make both of them in play. For me, and this is, I guess, the knowing ball or whatever people want to say, I think Capella gets a boost or a bump down if Trae's out with that pick and roll game. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do think a lot of Capella's upside is kind of tied to Trae Young. They have a pretty solid 2-man pick and roll game. So I definitely agree with you there. The matchup is so good for both these centers, though. I mean, the Wizards they have been awful against centers for a long time, already given up some big games this year. So, yeah, I think a boost to Capella if Trae is in, a Doc if he's out. But, yeah, if Trae's out, I mean, you could just fire up DeJounte Murray. I think he's a great chalk at 7,300. I mean, Jordan Poole and Tyus Jones are the 2 guys that are going to be trying to defend him, and neither of those guys are very good defenders. It'll be a long night for both of them. I could see another 40-point game from DeJounte tonight. This game is like probably the most exciting in terms of a DraftKings perspective, just like DFS perspective, because both these teams are playing as some of the fastest paced teams in the league, and both are in like bottom in terms of defense rating. So I think this game, there's going to be a ton of points scored. And yeah, I probably want one of these guys from both sides of my team on most of my teams, because I just think we're going to have some ceiling games out of this one. And it's kind of surprising seeing pretty much nobody on the Wizards side seeing more than 3% ownership, and that's Kyle Kuzma. I mean, if you're telling me I'm getting low single-digit ownership on all of these Wizards guys, then I think we'll be in a pretty good spot to stack this game here.
I like Kuzma a lot, and I think even if Gafford's out, Kuzma, he's going to have to play bigger. His rebounding rate will go up. Even if Gafford's in, I like Kuzma a lot. You're talking like outside of him, like Denny, small forward, power forward eligibility. I wish it was guard power or small forward. Tyus Jones, he's been good to start the year. You mentioned Jordan Poole. I mean, we're playing DFS, but what that dude's doing in real life right now is making me scratch my head. But yeah, talking Tyus, Denny, are those the guys that you think sub 5%, some of your favorites? Or what about if Gafford plays? What are your thoughts there? Because they're going to need size against Okongwu and Capella.
Yeah, if Gafford's in, I think he's a pretty interesting play too, only 5,100. The Hawks are equally as bad versus centers, so I think there is some upside to him at that price. But, yeah, we definitely got to wait on that news. It'll come after lock probably, but hopefully it comes out before. But Jordan Poole, very interesting to me tonight too. I mean, 7,900. I agree with you. He's not been that great as a real life NBA player, but he's got huge upside, and this game is going to be super fast paced. I could just see like a back and forth game between him and DeJounte Murray tonight. Might be one of those, 30, 40 point games from Jordan Poole. I mean, he had 40 points in like 25 minutes in the preseason. So we know that he's definitely capable of that. And yeah, ownership looks really good on him. So I prefer Kuzma over him. Just he's a little bit more of a safer option, got double upside, but yeah, Jordan Poole is definitely intriguing to me tonight.
Yeah, I love Kuz in this spot. Even Gafford in, Gafford out. I think Kuz a great play. And if Trey's out, we're going to be playing multiple Hawks for sure, and that makes the run back even easier. Even if Trae Young is in, though, I still think DeJounte's price is fine. I think you can play both centers, and I still like Kuzma in this spot. Gafford in, Gafford out regardless. So definitely a good game. Very high total on this slate. Before we get to the next game, though, see some more familiar faces pop in. Junior in here. What's going on, Junior? Johnny Footballs. Hope everything's going well. Mark in here. Richie Smalls, K-Ped, Andrew Martinez. Hope everybody out there having a good day so far. We got a lot to talk about, though, so we're going to keep it rolling. 13 games on this slate. The next one, another game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks. 209.5 total. New York is favored by 6. Injury news we're waiting on in this one. On the Knicks side, RJ Barrett is questionable. A lot of people get a boost if RJ's out, of course. Josh Hart quickly gets a bump there. Julius Randle gets a bump. RJ Barrett, obviously one of their better players, takes up a good amount of usage. As far as the Cleveland side, though, Garland's still out. Jared Allen's out. Ricky Rubio's still out, which means absolutely nothing. But Karis LeVert is questionable again. Talk about this Cavs side. I know yesterday it burned a lot of people. If Karis LeVert's out, we have 13 games now. We don't have 3 games, though. So a lot of injury news. You're going to be going back to some of these Cavs. Does it matter on LeVert news? And then talk about on the other side, does RJ Barrett news do anything for you in this one?
Not really. This game just feels like a kind of an easy cross off. I mean, I don't know if I'm seeing this right, but it's less than a 210 point total right now. So, I mean, these two teams are probably dead last when all the dust settles and we get all these like early trends out of the way. I would assume these are going to be the two of the slowest paced teams in the league. You're not getting really much of a discount on any of the players. So I mean, this is a pretty easy cross off regardless of LeVert or Barrett playing. We did see what's his name? This Craig Porter Jr. step into the lineup last game for for Cleveland. So I think, if LeVert is out, maybe he cracks the rotation again, but it seems a little bit thin. I just think that this game is more so a cross off for me.
Yeah, on this slate, it feels a little – he played 22 minutes, 29% usage rate. He was in and he was chucking, filled it up in some other spots as well. But, I mean, he ran really good in those minutes. He did on this slate, I don't know. He is very cheap at 3-2, so maybe in tournaments it gets you Giannis or an SGA or it gets you on a little different build maybe. But with all these questionable takes we're waiting on, assuming some of these guys are probably going to sit, I think better value, safer value would open up. We didn't touch on this quick, though. I think it's interesting. Any Bogdan love if Trey was out?
Yeah, I mean, he should. I don't know if he'll be in the starting lineup, but he should definitely see a big usage bump in the second unit. What's his price tag? I didn't really look at him.
He was
4,600. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good tag for him. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah, it'd probably just be it would only be if Trey was out. And even if he didn't start, though, he'd get more minutes off the bench. Usage would probably go up a little. So I'm good with Bogdan. DeJounte would be the play for sure. I do prefer both centers right now. The only interest I have in this one, and it'd only be if RJ Barrett's out, but Julius Randle at 8-1, double-digit rebounds in every game so far. We know Randle. I think he's overrated as a real-life player, but plays a lot of minutes. He gets good rebounder. If RJ's out, he's only going to get more of a boost there. It's a fair price tag with someone with 60-point upside. So I'm good with Julius Randle, only really if RJ's out. If he's in, I think this game pretty much an easy cross-off, very low total, 2 slow-paced teams like you talk about, protect the paint well. So Randle if Barrett's out. Otherwise, don't think we need to go to that one. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. Also at 7:30. A lot of 7:30 p.m. Eastern games. Indiana Pacers, Boston Celtics, 234.5 total. Boston big favorites at 11.5. Boston completely healthy. No injury news we're waiting on there. The same cannot be said for Indiana, though. Tyrese Halliburton, questionable. Benedict Mathurin, questionable. Jalen Smith, questionable. A lot of if-then scenarios in this one, Rio. But obviously, I mean, even if only one of Benedict or Tyrese are out, Nembhard gets a big boost. Buddy's there. Nesmith is there. I'll let you break it down, talk some if-then scenarios and stuff. As far as the Boston side, though, Jaylen Brown coming off a pretty big game, 7.7K. I do like the shooting guard and small forward eligibility. Probably the only interest I have, but I still don't really like clicking these Celtics when they're fully healthy with so many mouths. I mean, it could be a Tatum game, a Drew game, Porzingis game. Don't really like the Boston side. I think the JB price tag's fine, though, but mainly talk on this on the Indiana side.
Yeah, I mean, the spread indicates that probably Halliburton is going to miss. I don't know if they would be giving up over 11 points if he's in. So, yeah, that kind of has me off of all the Indy guys. It would probably be Nembhard starting, but DK kind of priced him up pretty aggressively at 5-1, so he's not like a smash value if he would be at like 4K. If TJ McConnell's starting, though, I mean, he's a great value at 4K. I think they would probably go with Nembhard. But, yeah, just super big spread. I don't – like the matchup is really good for everybody on the Celtics, but I could just see kind of all of them having pretty good games and nobody having like a slate-breaking game where you're going to be behind the eight ball if you didn't have one of them. But, yeah, the price tag is really solid for Jaylen Brown. I want the games I'm going to be attacking to be a little bit closer so we can get a little bit more of like a back and forth type affair. But I don't think the Indy will be able to keep up with them. The Celtics look really good to start the year.
So let's say both are somehow a Tyrese and Benedict. And yes, Nesmith 5.4K, Nembhard 5.1. They did price them up. What about Bruce Brown, though? 5.6K, point guard, small forward eligibility, plays a lot of minutes, can fill it up in multiple areas. Does he get a big enough usage bump without those two?
I don't think so. And even if he does, the Celtics defense is really good right now. So he might get the Drew Holiday assignment, which, I mean, I don't want to like overreact to defensive matchups, but Drew is easily the best wing defender in the league. So I don't know. The Pacers feel like a pretty easy cross off for me.
Yeah, if TJ does start, though, Sean, you said it, TJ would definitely be a very good play. We've seen that story multiple times. What's going on, Keith? What's going on, Drea? Hope you guys are doing well. So, yeah, we've had a lot of cross-offs so far. But, again, if the Pacers side, not as much with these Q tags, Benedict and Tyrese. If both are out, I still might have a little more interest. Like if Nembhard does start, even at that price tag of 5.2K, 5.1K, maybe I can get there. Let's just look at the roster right now. No Tyrese, no Benedict. They got Bruce Brown, Obi, Miles Turner. That won't change. Nesmith, Nembhard, Buddy off the bench, TJ. It'd be those four playing. I guess you could throw Bruce Brown in there. Pretty much be those. No, I wouldn't throw Bruce Brown in there. Those four, Nesmith, Nembhard, Buddy, McConnell, playing all the 1 and 2 minutes. Is that how you see it too? I don't think they'd get War in there. Jalen Smith plays the 3 or the 4. Do you see that it'd have to be if Tyrese and Benedict are out, Nesmith, Nembhard, Buddy, and TJ McConnell, 2 of those guys will be out there at all times, and they'll have to play all the 48 minutes of those 4 at the 1 and 2 spot? Or do you think they can maybe go bigger and Bruce Brown goes some of the 2 and stuff like that?
No, I think the way you broke it down is probably the way that they would play it.
Cool. Yeah. If those 2 are out and most Q tags are in, maybe I'll play some of these 5K, low 5K. They definitely would be in play if both of them are out, but it is a tough matchup. And on a 13-game slate, like the DeJounte, like Jalen Johnson, those guys would still be a much better play in better spots than these Pacers side. So hopefully one of the 2 are in and I don't have to worry about it too much. We'll keep it rolling. Again, I actually want to show halfway through the show, if you did just join us and you aren't a member at SHIPIT Nation, if you do want to see what you do get for the NBA product at SHIPITNation.com, you can see right here. Hold on. Add this. There we go. That's the showdown. I'll start here. Projections, ownership. We have from FanDuel, DraftKings. You can sort it by position, team, opponents. There's ownership, point per dollar, anything you need. FanDuel, DraftKings, CSV if you want to download it. Projections, ownership. GPP core report, cash core report, 4 plays on both sites. Slate plan that Rio does the night before it's up, makes updates in yellow throughout, top tier, mid tier, lower tier, breaks down players and his favorite. Great breakdown from him. Ceiling rankings correlation, these tools will be going later, end of November, early December, when we have more data. This is all Vegas info, very basics, and then showdown, whether you can't play the main slate because you're very busy, tough main slate, or you just want some showdown action. Prize pools are usually good. Projections, and then core reports from our man Rio. Core plays, his captain, and his flex exposure, some notes on both as well. And a lot of members have had success in the showdown street. So shout out to you, Rio, doing a great job. Have had a lot of members. Very happy with your work so far. So keep that up. Let's go to the next game, though. Again, like button helps us out a ton. We appreciate it. Hope everybody out there doing well. And then if you want to join us at SHIPIT Nation, make sure to use that promo code MAYO. Get you 10% off. Monthly, $69 a month. 6 months, $59 a month. Annual comes out to $49 a month before you use that promo code MAYO. So make sure, do that. Get in the Discord if you do join. Let's keep it rolling. Multiple games to talk about. Brooklyn Nets, Miami Heat, another 7:30 Eastern game. 224 total. Miami is favored by 6.5. Looking at the injury report on the Miami side, Kevin Love is questionable. Caleb Martin is still out. On the Brooklyn side, Dinwiddie, Claxton, Cam Johnson out. Dennis Smith Jr. is questionable. I'll throw it right to you, but I just want to say one name, Cam Johnson, and just say Hooper. What you got in this one?
You probably meant Cam Thomas, I'm assuming.
Cam Thomas, not Cam Johnson. Sorry, Cam Johnson.
He's a hooper too. Yeah,
but Cam Thomas is he's just a bucket. That's a bucket. Yeah. That's what Cam Thomas is.
Yeah, certified bucket getter for sure. This is kind of crazy though. It feels like the end of the season right now with all these injuries piling up for both of these teams, and we're only week 2. The Nets are going to be super shorthanded again, already without Cam Johnson, already without Nick Claxton, and now going to be without Spencer Dinwiddie. So that just frees up a ton more usage and minutes for guys like Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, Ben Simmons. Lonnie Walker should slide into the starting lineup. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. He looks like a pretty good value at 4,800 against the Miami defense that normally they were a team that's been pretty solid defensively, but they've really struggled to begin the year, and that really makes me really interested in some of these Nets players. I think that Cam Thomas probably is going to be my favorite. Just I think from an upside perspective, he scored over 30 points in every game this year, and should see upper 30s, maybe even touch 40 minutes tonight, and just we'll get a good matchup between one of Tyler Hero or Kyle Lowry, depending on who they pair him up with. And that would be a matchup he could for sure exploit. So I like him the best. And then, Dorian Finney-Smith should see pretty solid minutes too. They've been saying they want him to shoot some more threes. So, I think there's a little bit of upside, a little bit more upside than I gave him credit for last time I wrote him up. So he looks pretty solid. Lonnie Walker, if he's starting, looks like a pretty solid value. I think he'd be a decent pivot off of guys like Davion Mitchell if he gets some ownership in the late game. And then on the Heat side, Tyler Hero has really been the alpha for them this year, and with the spread indicating that they're going to be favored in this game, I assume that's probably on the back of Tyler Hero. Did get a midday downgrade from Jimmy Butler from healthy to probable. And I'm not sure why you have to report that, but that does make me a little bit worried that maybe he goes all the way down to being out, and Bam's already questionable or probable. So kind of a lot of injury news in this game. Kevin Love questionable, like you said, could free up a ton of minutes for guys like Josh Richardson, Duncan Robinson. Maybe Orlando Robinson got hot last game, so maybe he sneaks in there again. This is kind of just like a wait and see approach in terms of seeing how the injuries play out. But Tyler Hero would be my favorite play on the Miami side.
I definitely agree with you. Hero, I love Hero playing upper 30s minutes. He chalks. He's a way better rebounder than most people give him credit for as a guard as well. Love Hero in this price tag. I think Bam is interesting again. All right, so Bam or Julius Randle, if you had to pick one.
Is neither an option?
Yeah, neither is an option on a 13-game slate. So that's all I'll say. I think I lean Randle too, and especially if Barrett's out, I do.
I would probably lean Randle if I had to choose one.
Yeah, 8K for Bam. Bam, man, I don't get him right. And if Hoop's on the show, he's not. A lot of people know Hoop for his NFL takes with Dak and Kyler. Not a Bam guy is Hoop either. But yeah, I think I like Randall more. Really just hero on the Miami side. I was thinking like if Love's out, maybe you can give a couple more minutes to Bam. But the Brooklyn side is way more interesting. Cam Thomas is definitely my favorite. Just, yeah, certified hooper. Simmons, he's been good for him. I like the point guard and small forward eligibility as well. Can fill it up. 10 rebounds in every game, 9 assists. Triple-double is always in play for Ben. So I like that price tag as well with the injuries. And Lonnie Walker, I like that shout too. Again, shooting guard, small forward eligibility. Assuming he does start, I probably wouldn't play him off the bench on the 13-game slate, but 28 minutes last game. He's chalks as well, 22% usage in both games, can rebound the ball a little bit as well. So I'd rank them Cam, Simmons, Lonnie on the Brooklyn side. Don't think, the Dorian Finney-Smith you mentioned, Royce O'Neal, I think they're fine, probably pretty low owned. On this big of a slate, though, I think I like some other guys in their price range. So I'll say Cam, Simmons, Lonnie on that side in that order. Definitely love Tyler Hero. Don't think I'd click on any other Heat names. Any final thoughts there? Should we move it on to the next game?
I think we're good to move it on. I would just say that Ben Simmons, he's a pretty solid play at 6'8". Minutes should be pretty solid, but I think that he might need a triple-double to pay off his price tag because he's not going to put up 20, 25 real-life points. Yeah. So you need the triple-double for him to pay off. That's why I'm a little bit under on him.
No, fair enough. Definitely makes sense. I prefer Cam Thomas as well. Andrew Martinez asked about, or we got two names, Armani Brooks at 3K and Haywood Highsmith. My answer to both is no on a slate like this. I just think there's other roles that'll be more secure. I think we'll see multiple people starting in the 3Ks as well. Like if Hawkins starts again for Ingram, I prefer him over Brooks, over Highsmith. And like if McConnell starts, there's just so many Q tags. I think we'll have much better value when it's all said and done than Brooks or Highsmith. So anything there?
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Nobody talking about Bridges. I mean, he's 8.1K is why not many people are talking about him, but he'll be very low owned, plays a lot of minutes. But yeah, it's the price the reason most people, including us, aren't really mentioning Mikal Bridges. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. This one's at 8 p.m. Eastern. Charlotte Hornets, Houston Rockets, 222.5 total. Houston is favored by 2.5. Houston side, everybody is healthy, nothing there. And as far as the Charlotte side, everybody healthy as well. So a game, we're not waiting on any injury news, and on a 13-game slate with a lot of injury news we are waiting on. Does this fall in the boat? I don't know. To me, I have some interest in this one. It doesn't fall in the boat of a complete cross-off. There's a lot of appropriate prices. I'm going to throw out a couple names. Sengun, someone mentioned him way early. Is this a smash spot for him? Looks like it for me for sure. Jalen Green has a good price at 6'1". Dylan Brooks, 4'9". Jabari Smith, I think all of them solid price tags. Fred VanVleet as well at 7'4". I think on the Charlotte side, Rozier, LaMelo, PJ. I definitely like the Houston side more. I think the price tags and the rotations, just everything is safer than the Charlotte side. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I definitely have way more interest on the Houston side. Charlotte's defense is not very good. This one is a little bit tough, though, because we have one of the fastest-paced teams with Charlotte and then one of the slowest-paced teams with the Rockets. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, if Houston's going to play up to Charlotte's pace or Charlotte will play down to Houston's. But I agree with you, and whoever mentioned Sengun in chat earlier, definitely on him a little bit, 7,700. He's second on the team in usage right now, which is really good to see. They're running their offense through him. Mark Williams, not that great of a defender. Sengun has a good chance to have a big game. We've already saw him go for 50 once this year. Wasn't an overtime game, so not sure that he has that same type of upside on a nightly basis if the game just ends in regulation, but he would definitely be one of my favorite plays on the Houston side. Not too into Fred VanVleet. Matchup is fine for him. Jalen Green, kind of more of like a floor play at 6,100. Jabari Smith looks pretty good. He finally turned in like a complete game last time out. Went for 38 or something DraftKings points. He looks to have the matchup advantage over PJ Washington, so I don't mind him at 5,500. But really just the main starters. I'm never playing Dylan Brooks. Just the main starters for Houston. And then on Charlotte's side, it's kind of tough to click any of these names right now. LaMelo, 9,600. It seems like that's about his ceiling price tag, I think, and he's not getting a full complement of minutes right now, so it's a little tough to play him at 9,600. But he always has the triple double upside. I'm just not super confident that he's going to get the minutes every night. I do think Terry Rozier is a little interesting if LaMelo Ball is limited. He's been taking on a ton of usage with LaMelo Ball not being on the court, and matchup should be pretty good against one of Fred VanVleet or Jalen Green. Should be able to get some clean open looks. Price tag is pretty up there with kind of where I'm a little bit uncomfortable playing him, but he would probably be my favorite option on the Charlotte side. I don't really have a ton of interest in anybody else other than that.
I agree with you. He's my favorite on Charlotte. The price tag feels a little at 7K, but 34, 40 minutes, 16, 20, 19 shot attempts, 29, 27, 22% usage. Assists have been up there a little bit, 9, 6, 1 in another game. But at 7K, if you're giving me 35 minutes and 25% usage, you can definitely get there. And I'm seeing sub 10% ownership. And I like some of these Houston guys too. So I think he's an interesting GPP play, always has the upside. Definitely has the downside, too, to kill your lineup. How would you rank the Houston guys? I rank them Sengun, Jabari, probably Jalen Green. Definitely Sengun number 1.
Yeah, exactly the same for me.
Cool. I like it. What's going on, Tweezy? Hope everything going well. Brock, hope everything going well as well. Keep it rolling. Next game on the slate. No injury news to wait for in that one. And this one, not any injury news either. Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, 220 total. Denver is favored by 2. Again, nothing on the Denver side and nothing on the Minnesota side we're waiting on. At this game, cumulative ownership, I think, is going to be very, very low. If you want to fully cross it off, you're only playing a couple lineups, I think it's fine. Obviously, you can always play Jokic, 12K. At least as of now, with a lot of Q tags, I think balance builds the more popular route. However, again, if a lot of these Q tags become out and you get multiple 3K people starting, maybe you'll have the money to go stars and scrubs, so that build will be more popular. Jokic, always one of the best plays on the slate. Against Gobert, I don't know. I'll let you talk about it. You can play Gobert, or you can play Jokic. You can play Jamal Murray. You can play Towns. You can play Gobert, but they're all just, if I land on them at the price, they're going to be low owned, fine. Otherwise, I don't really like this game.
I know, I'm agree with you. Jokic just had some pretty good games against Gobert in his career. Had a couple 70 burgers in terms of DraftKings scoring. But yeah, as it stands right now with not a ton of value on the slate, I don't think I'll be able to get up to Jokic. Always a great play when he's going to be super low owned because he does have one of the highest upsides on the slate. But I think that if some value does open up, I would probably be more inclined to play Luka tonight, or maybe even a little bit like 1K less for Giannis than Jokic. But yeah, this game is just it's going to be more of like a fun real life game than more so like a DraftKings perspective or fantasy perspective. So I'm pretty off of this game.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's what I was going to go to next with Luka. We'll jump right into that game because Kyrie's doubtful, but we got Dallas, Chicago Bulls, 221.5 total. The Mavs are favored by 4. Kyrie is doubtful, expected to miss again, and Lonzo's, of course, out for the Bulls, but nothing on the Bulls side we're waiting on. Very sad with Lonzo, too. But yeah. Luka, if people do spend up, like he's far and away the top raw points player on the slate without Kyrie, but the price is up there at 12.6. And again, if the slate locked right now, I think Luka's ownership would be in check because stars and scrubs build is doesn't look nearly as good right now than balance build. With all these Q tags, though, if injury or if value opens up, Luka's ownership will go way up. And again, you mentioned to Jokic, to Giannis, I think people will really just try and go Luka, which could keep Jokic's ownership even lower than even if it does go stars and scrubs route and more value opens up. But yeah, Luka, if you can get him 12.6, no Kyrie, obviously a great play. Josh Green, another one, 4.3K, small forward, power forward eligibility, got the start, played 34 minutes. He's never a guy I love clicking on in tournaments because, like, what is his real upside, especially on a 13-game slate? But if he gets you 25 at 4.3 and it makes everything else work, I don't think it's bad. So really just Luka. And then, man, these Bulls, like, if you want to click on Vooch, Levine, DeRozan, I think all are appropriately priced and fine, but it's kind of like the Boston side. Like, I'm going to pick Levine, and he's going to be the odd man out. You pick Vooch, he's the odd man out. Yeah. You play 150, though, you can mix and match and hopefully get on the right ones. But, yeah, if I'm only playing a couple teams, I doubt the Bulls I'll take a shot on. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's hard for really anybody on the Dallas side to have any sort of upside case with Luka in there. I mean, he's going to dominate the usage. He's going to take all of the shots. So I don't think that I would be like running to play Josh Green. He's a fine value if you want to get like 18, 20 points at 4-3. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm in love with it. Yeah, I'm a little undecided what to do with Luka right now. A lot of things would change if we get a ton of value opening up throughout the slate because he's been amazing to start the year. I think there's like a real chance of him averaging like a 35 plus point per game season and a triple double this year if all this holds. He's been over 70 DraftKings points in every single game this year, which is insane. Should have a really good matchup advantage over anybody who guards him on the Bulls. They look terrible to start the year. But yeah, as of right now, with not a ton of value, I have a tough time getting to him. I think I do prefer the mid-price build a little bit better. I think there's a couple guys in like the 8Ks that can get you 50, 55 plus. So yeah, I'll probably be a little bit lower on Luka, but all that is subject to change throughout the day. But yeah, it's tough trying to figure out which one on the Bulls is going to be the one to go off. It seems like when you play Levine, it's Vucevic. When you play Vuce or DeMar, it's Levine at 1% going for 50 real points. So I have no grip on who's going to be the one tonight. I think that Vucevic probably has the cleanest matchup versus a Derek Lively, who is a rookie. They're prone to make some mistakes. So I think that if I had to pick one of them, he would probably be the one I'm playing, but I don't have like any sort of strong lean over any of the three. And then all of like the secondary guys in Chicago are out of play for me.
Yeah, if I usually pick one, it's Vooch, just because I feel like the floor is always higher with the rebounding, the double-double at center. But usually center's loaded. Center's a good position today, but it's not as stacked as we have some slates where it's like you have to play two centers. Two of these three are the guys, and everyone else is going to be 2% owned. Vooch definitely isn't going to be owned, but I don't think the center position is strong enough where Vooch will still be my number one over Levine and DeRozan. As far as your Luka point, though, yeah, 30 could have 35 and a triple-double by the end of the year. If Kyrie continues not to play and he plays with Josh Green, Derek Jones, Grant Williams, and Derek Lively, I think Luka might be averaging something like that. What a squad they're rolling out around him. But, yeah, I mean, so many Q tags. I'm assuming some of these guys are questionable. More injury news opens up, and Luka will benefit, or the ownership will go up on Luka the most indirectly just because of the salary at 12.6. No Kyrie. He's in a tier of his own up top, which also does make Jokic lower owned at only $600. The Giannis at 11K and Luka at 12.6, though, that 1.6K, I'm not sure exactly how that'll go. We need a lot of value to open up, I think, for Luka to be like 4 times higher owned or something like that. But raw points, it's definitely Luka, and it's not even close. We'll keep it rolling. How many games we got left? 1, 2, 3 games left on this 13-game slate. Appreciate everyone hanging out. I always say it, but we really do mean it. We got Colin in here. Hope everything going well, Colin. Alex Hahn, what is up? Romy in here as well. 3 games left, Rio. Let's go to the next one on the slate. Memphis Grizzlies, Utah Jazz, 225 and a half total. Utah is favored by 2. Nothing on the Utah side for injury news. And as far as Memphis, Derrick Rose is going to be out. Obviously, Ja's still out. We're not waiting on any questionable tags for them. Throw it to you in this one. I don't know. I think the Utah side's more interesting, I think. THT, Collins, Clarkson. But there is some plays on Memphis. Jaren Jackson, he has all the upside in the world. The price tag is there at 8.3, though. So low floor because of foul trouble. Monster ceiling, something you can get behind in tournaments. Bane all the way up at 8.5 too, but still very fairly priced with his role with no Ja there. Smart at 6.5. I think those are the guys. It's going to be Bane, Jaren Jackson, Smart on the Memphis side that I have interest in. And then as the Utah side, Clarkson, Collins, THT. I'll let you break it down. Rank some of those guys. Anybody else you have interest in this one?
Yeah, I have a ton of interest in the Memphis side of this game. Unfortunately, I am a struggling Utah Jazz fan right now, so it's been really fun watching my team just get destroyed on a nightly basis. But when you watch a team closely, it makes it a little bit. If you can look at it from an unbiased standpoint, you have a little bit of a clearer view and you know how to attack it. And Desmond Bane, I think, has a really, really strong ceiling tonight. THT, Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, really, really bad defenders right now. Jazz are dead last in defensive rating this year. And yeah, it's definitely possible Bane has a huge game tonight, huge scoring game for sure, but I can see him getting into the 50s. So I really like him. Jaren Jackson Jr., a little bit tougher to play at 8,300. You should get the Lauri Markkanen matchup, which is, or actually, he'll probably get John Collins, which I don't, it's a neutral matchup. He's probably pretty safe at 8,300, but Marcus Smart, have a lot of interest in him too. He's been really picking it up on the offensive end. He went for 23 real points last game, 20 against Denver, 17 against New Orleans. He's got huge steal block upside too. So he got up to 48 DraftKings points last game. So I like him a lot too at 6,500. But yeah, for the Memphis side, I'm ranking it Bane 1, Smart 2, Jaren Jackson 3. And then I do have some interest on the Jazz side also. I mean, both these teams are bottom of the barrel in terms of defense. Memphis has really been struggling without Ja this year. Kind of tough to pinpoint when Lauri is going to have a good game. If he's going to be guarded by Jaren Jackson on the other side, I would be a little bit under on him. But if it's Zaire Williams, he has a good chance to put a good score up. But I think Jordan Clarkson is probably the guy I have the most interest in. Memphis has not been that good against guards this year either. I wrote up in my Slate Plan article that they've given up 24 to CJ McCollum, 22 to Jamal Murray, 27 to Jordan Poole, 35 to Luka, and 21 to Tim Hardaway. So those are just scores for guards. And if Jordan Clarkson gets up to 22, 25 points, I think he could definitely pay off this price tag. He's been getting a little bit of an assist rate boostage too with THT, not really like a prototypical point guard. So I think Jordan Clarkson has a good amount of upside. I mean, all the starters for the Jazz outside of Lauri Markkanen really have good price tags. I mean, 5,800 for Walker Kessler. Finally saw his minutes get up to 29 last game, went for 40. He could definitely do that again here. Someone's a pretty solid defender, but he's not going to pull Walker Kessler far away from the basket. So I think he could just kind of live under the paint, rack up a bunch of rebounds, maybe some blocks, and then sneak his way to a double-double. John Collins' role has been super good to start the year. He's notched a double-double in all but one game this year, and he's seeing really solid minutes, around 34 a game. So, yeah, I have a lot of interest in this game. I think we could definitely stack this one up. I think I would rank it for the Jazz. It would be Clarkson, Kessler, Collins, and then Lauri. Just price adjusted. I like those guys a little bit better.
Yeah, I think this game gets, at least as of now, a decent amount of ownership. I wouldn't worry too much about on a 13-game slate. Ownership's definitely going to be spread, but I mean, we talked about multiple games that were cross-offs. As far as this one with not much injury news, just a lot of appropriate prices. And we're talking about a mid-tier build. The Clarksons, THTs, Baines. I don't think Jaren Jackson. Smart might get a little ownership. Someone mentioned Zaire Williams. I don't think he gets too much, but mainly the Bane, THT, Clarkson, going to get a little bit of ownership in this one. But I like it. They're all reasonably priced. You mentioned Bane, great matchup. His role, 8-5. Jaren Jackson's interesting, though. Just in tournaments, Bane's probably going to be 2 times as high owned, if not even a little more. Power forward center eligibility I like. And keep your hands to yourself. He has all the upside in the world. So I think he is my favorite GPP play. Just expecting Bane to be higher owned. But I do like, I mean, Bane, you talked everything about the matchup for Bane, and he is chucking without Ja running the offense there. So 2 games left on the slate. Again, we appreciate that like button. Let's try and get to 100 likes, 250 watching, 71 likes. Let's try and get up to 100. I know a lot of people watching probably on playback as well. Do us a favor, like button, subscribe button. We appreciate it in advance. 2 games left, Rio. 2 games at 10 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento Kings, Golden State Warriors, 227.5 total. Golden State is favored by 7.5. Kuminga is questionable for the Warriors. And as far as the Kings, you hinted a little bit about Davion Mitchell. De'Aaron Fox is out. Trey Lyles is also out. We expect Davion Mitchell to start for De'Aaron Fox like he has in the past. A lot of these guys are obviously without Fox. Kevin Huerter gets a bump. Malik Monk gets a bump. Harrison Barnes, Mitchell, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. Definitely have interest way more on the Sacramento side than the Golden State side, but still talking these price tags. Keegan Murray 6'3", Monk's 5'7", Sabonis 10'5", Herter 5'1". So DK did do pretty well with the prices. Still, how much Kings interest do you think you have? Any Golden State? Does Kuminga news do anything for you?
Kuminga doesn't really change much for me on the Kings side. I mean, the offense is going to run through Sabonis, so I think he has a lot of upside tonight. I said that Kevon Looney is like a matchup that I'm a little bit weary attacking just because he's a pretty solid center defender and doesn't commit a ton of fouls. So he should be out there kind of matching Sabonis's minutes. But Sabonis is, really good rebounder, really good passer too. So I could see him getting up to a triple-double. I mean, this team already played once this year, and Sabonis had 59 DraftKings points, was 3 assists away from a triple-double. I think that's about his ceiling, maybe a little bit more with Fox out if he gets a little bit more of the usage. Price tag on Keegan Murray is a little bit expensive, but it's way too expensive. I think it's $6,300. He's been shooting a bunch, and he probably gets a big offensive usage boost too. He might get up to 20 field goals tonight, and if he somehow falls his way into a double-double, he could pay off this tag. The game is going to be pretty fast and paced. Both these teams like to play fast. We should see playoff type rotations for both of them. I think this is kind of an important game for both of them to want to come away with a win. But yeah, Harrison Barnes, $5,900, too expensive. I do like Malik Monk here. This is a matchup that really bodes well for him. Up in pace, should be high scoring. I think they're really going to need his offensive ability to keep this game close. Davion Mitchell he's just out there for defense. I don't think he's going to get 35 minutes or anything like that. I think we could see Monk reach 30, and he's got a good chance to pay off that tag at 30 if the game stays close and it's high scoring. But Kevin Huerter is definitely somebody that benefits a ton without De'Aaron Fox also. He's last 3 games without De'Aaron Fox, he's gone for 27, 7-4, 25, 5-8, 24 and 9. So he's really been filling it up. He's probably going to be the de facto point guard when he's out there, and Malik Monk's on the bench. So I like him. And then, I'm not playing Davion Mitchell if I haven't already made that clear. None of the other secondary guys for Sacramento would make my pool. And then for the Warriors, I think it's just going to be Steph. They are looking pretty healthy. Nobody really stands out as an amazing play at their price tags when everybody's healthy, but Steph at 10K, I think he does have some upside there. And yeah, like I said, if the game stays close and it's up in pace and there's a lot of scoring, Steph benefits greatly in that sense.
So like Steph, Sabonis, SGA, those guys in that 10K range, I'll just say those 3 right now. That's who came to the top of my head. Do you have any strong leans on those 3, whatever fits? Like if you don't have the 500 from Sabonis and Steph, at util, you're good with Steph. Any rankings of those 3?
I would probably play Sabonis before I play Steph. I just think that his floor is a little bit safer, but Steph definitely has way more upside, I think, at that price tag. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
all those stars, like they have 70 point. I mean, you could even say 80 point upside. We've seen most of them. 70, I guess, a more fair number. But Sabonis can have a 30-20 game. Steph can go out and get you 60 real ones with 12. Like, they both have the upside. I would lean Sabonis if I had to pick. Just I tend to lean into if De'Aaron Fox isn't playing, the offense should run through him more. The Warriors are completely healthy. Is it a Clay game? Whatever it may be. But Steph's appropriately priced. The ownership's going to be down. It's a late night hammer. In the night slate, obviously will be playing more this game. But for the mains, I agree with you on the Mitchell price tag. They priced him up. Thankfully, he's not 3.3K or whatever starting without him. DK did a good job. I'd rank it Steph on the Warriors, but I pretty much the Warriors are a cross off. Of course, you can always play Steph. He would be the one if I did. I'd rank it though, probably Herter, Sabonis, Keegan Murray. If I had to rank my favorite 3 on the Kings, Herter for the price, Sabonis for the upside and solid price. Keegan Murray just, I don't know, 6.3K. He's going to play a bunch of minutes, but I want 40 in GPPs from him at that price, and I don't know how likely that is. So how would you rank your favorite Kings before we get to the last one?
It would be Sabonis, Herter, and then Keegan Murray, I think. I don't know. I like Keegan Murray a little bit here. I think he does have a little bit more upside than we might be giving him credit for. The coaching staff has they've wanted him to take on a bigger role this year offensively. So I mean, there's no better time for him to step up than with De'Aaron Fox out. I think he does have sneaky 40, 45 point upside in this matchup.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Looking at it, the usage is what I don't love, 20, 20, 17, but he's filled up. His rebounding numbers have been up 8, 7, 8. His minutes have all been in the 30s, upper 30s last game. So, yeah, maybe I underestimated his upside a little bit. Still 6'3", he would be third on the list for the Kings. Again, anybody tuned in a little late, didn't see earlier, just want to show you what you do all get at SHIPITNation.com if you do sign up. Before we touch on this last game, all of our show schedule right here, NFL, NBA, PGA, MMA, NHL, and MLB World Series. So that'll be next year, PGA and swing season. Not sure if it's this week, but when PGA does go in full force, nobody better in the business than Hoop and Tambo. Nades does NHL. People have absolutely been crushing that. MMA this week is back. Love to see that. But projections, FanDuel, DraftKings, you can download a CSV. You can sort it by point per dollar, pick which teams if you want to just see like OKC, Boston, etc. FanDuel, DK, we have ownership as well. Going down GPP Core Report, Rio, Tambo, Nades, and then Hamwich on FanDuel. 5 core plays on both sites. Again, all updates on all content in yellow. Cash report from myself, 4 on both sites. Slate plan from Rio, which is up the night before, and updates are made throughout, breaking down high tier, mid tier, low tier. Great breakdown in depth from our man Rio. Going down, ceiling rankings, correlation sheet. Our tools will be live late November, early December when we have more data. This is Vegas information. And then, of course, showdown at night. Prize pools are good Monday through Friday. Not many grinding the showdown, but Rio has had a lot of success there. Core plays, favorite captains, favorite flex, and ranked by exposure with some notes there. So if you do want to join, head over to SHIPITNation.com and make sure to use that promo code MAYO. Gets you 10% off. $69 a month monthly, or 6-month package comes out to $59 a month, and annual comes out to $49 a month. If you do join, again, make sure to use that promo code MAYO and make sure to get in the Discord as well. It's a big piece of our content. Great community, very knowledgeable members, and man, I've loved seeing the screenshots filing in these past couple of days in the NBA streets. Last game on the slate, Rio 13. It's a big boy to talk about on these Wednesdays, but wouldn't have it any other way. Los Angeles Clippers, Los Angeles Lakers, 226 total. Lakers are favored by 4.5. On the Lakers side, Rui is out again. Vanderbilt's out. Gabe Vincent is doubtful. On the Clippers side, Terrence Mann doubtful. Of course, James Harden, the big story of everything. He is not playing today. If you want to touch a little bit on your thoughts on the Harden trade, you can do that, but then talk about DFS for today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton of thoughts. I mean, it's a smart trade for both sides. I think the Sixers wanted to get him out. Clippers really wanted him, and they didn't really give up much to get him. You know, they traded essentially 3 of the same variations of the same player with Covington and Batum and Marcus Morris. Yeah,
they got him for free.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the most viable asset was the first round pick, but yeah, we'll see what the Sixers do with that, because I think that, you know, you have a disgruntled Joel Embiid. They need to get him some help other than Tyrese Maxey, who is an absolute stud, by the way. Love him. But yeah, nothing crazy. I mean, the Clippers are still in like probably the C tier in terms of Western Conference teams for me, but we'll see how this team meshes together. It'll be interesting to see what Russell Westbrook's role and James Harden's role will be when everything kind of settles in. But yeah,
talking this one, yeah, I'll throw it a couple, because on the Clippers side, I really just think Bones is going to get ownership, and outside of him, I don't really see much at all. And then on the Lakers side, LeBron and AD both under 10K, so it's very interesting. I still much prefer AD, even though he is 700 more, just with LeBron and the minutes concern and all that to start the year. You know, you don't have that with AD as all the upside in the world. That price tag, like we're talking SGA, Sabonis, Steph, AD, all right in that 9.8 to 10.5 range. AD is my favorite. He's the cheapest and the most upside. So sign me up for AD for sure. Again, LeBron, that price tag intrigues me, but I much prefer AD, and I don't want to play them both in tournaments. One last name. I'll throw two last names out for you. Christian Wood, great call on you. I saw a lot of people benefited that on Showdown yesterday. When he gets the minutes, he usually does smash. And then D. Russ at 6-1. So break down Bones to start. Any other interest on the Clippers, and then the Lakers to cap off this 13-gamer.
Yeah, the Clippers is kind of tough to break down because it's similar to a like Chicago Bulls, but a little bit, obviously better talent. But like when all three of Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Westbrook are in, it's tough to pinpoint which one is going to have the good game. I was a little bit higher on Paul George last night. He had a solid game. Russell Westbrook had a really good game. Kawhi didn't do anything. I'm not sure who is in or out for the Clippers. They said that Paul George and Kawhi were uncertain. So, I mean, I just don't think you can play any of them with confidence. I think Bones is the best play on the Clippers for sure. Should be starting again. Should get a good matchup against D'Angelo Russell. And, yeah, I like him. Probably is the only play on the Clippers unless we get news that one of or both of Paul George are out. Then Russell Westbrook becomes viable. Not going to play Zubac against Anthony Davis. And then I agree with you. I like Anthony Davis a lot over all those other guys you mentioned. Prefer him over LeBron James, even with the $700 increase. But Zubac has been pretty good against Anthony Davis in his career, but this is a different Anthony Davis. He's the true alpha of this team. He's taken on a huge role on the offensive end. I think he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's been awesome. 60-plus points in the last 3 games. I really like him here in this matchup. And, with Gabe Vincent likely to miss, you got to think that would increase D'Angelo Russell's floor a bit in terms of minutes. Should increase because they're sharing the floor a little bit, but I would assume that it's more so D'Lo and Austin Reeves together now instead of Gabe Vincent eating into both of them. And he's been seeing a ton of minutes, so I definitely think that's something to keep in mind. Christian Wood, only 5,200, is going to get more minutes with Rui. Issue is he is only center eligible tonight for some reason, and I would just rather play Anthony Davis. I don't know if I want to waste 2 center spots on Christian Wood. But Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Christian Wood Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and Christian Wood for sure. My 3 plays on the Lakers, and then just Bones Highland right now for the Clippers for me.
Yeah, Zim asked about D. Russ. I'm glad you touched on him. But he was playing 36, 40, 34. He's playing a bunch of minutes even with Vincent. Running the point next to LeBron and AD. His assist numbers have been good this year. He's still taking double-digit shot attempts and a very solid price tag. So he would be – I still think I'd like AD more if I had to say, of course, price included. But it's definitely those two. Yeah, Christian Wood had just center eligibility, 5'2". Definitely worse plays out there. I just don't think myself I'll probably get there. Bones really the only one on the Clippers. So that's all 13 games, but tying it back to the beginning, I'll just give my brief slate breakdown and go to you. But a lot of these injury news we're waiting on, most of them are at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, which is nice. Hopefully 30 minutes is when the NBA is supposed to report all their injuries. The main stuff we're waiting on: Tyrese, Jalen Duren, Trae Young, Brandon Ingram, Gafford, RJ Barrett. I think all of those guys play at 7:30 Eastern, maybe except, RJ Barrett does as well. So 7:30 is a big time. Hopefully all the news comes out at least by 6:45 Eastern, 15 minutes before lock, but always be prepared in the NBA streets. We should have most of that news at least 15 minutes after lock, though. Doesn't mean you can leave your computer and not worry about anything, but I think a good amount of the most important injury news as of now we should have, and your lineup should be pretty. I expect to have a lot more early guys than late guys with these Q tags and potential value opening up, but some good spends late we talked about. Final thoughts on this slate?
No, it should be a fun one. Definitely be near a computer or have your phone on you. If you're not a member, then definitely have NBA Underdog. Follow them on Twitter, have the notifications on. And I'll be in Discord for sure all night answering questions and kind of breaking down what I'm seeing from a injury standpoint. But it should be a really fun game. I think we're going to have a good night tonight.
Yeah, it's been money so far to start the NBA season. A lot of success in NFL, of course, as always. And if you can't play today, you have a lot going on. You only can play at night. You get back. You're having a bad main slate. We do have showdown content on the site from Rio projections as well. Use that promo code MAYO. Get you 10% off any membership monthly 6-month or annual. That'll do it for us, though. Good talking, as always, Rio. Great information. We'll be on the Ship It Nation channel tomorrow, talking hoops, and then Friday back on the Mayo Media Network. Hope everybody out there has a great night. See some Ship It Nation logos up top. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way out. And good luck tonight, everybody. For Rio, I'm Titletown. Have a good one.